A very cranky old woman is caught red-handed shoplifting at the local supermarket. From the moment the store manager tries to talk to her, she's already in full-on battle mode, giving him an earful about how the prices are too high and the aisles are too narrow. By the time the arresting officer arrives, she's accusing him of being late on purpose just to make her wait. When she finally stands before the judge, she's still fuming, arms crossed and lips pursed, as if daring anyone to cross her. The judge asks her,
"Ma'am, what exactly did you take from the store?"
With a defiant huff, she snaps,
"Just a stupid can of peaches."
her tone suggesting that the entire ordeal is beneath her. The judge, maintaining his composure, asks,
"And why did you do that, ma'am?"
"I was hungry and forgot to bring any cash to the store."
She replies, as if this is the most reasonable excuse in the world. The judge nods, then asks,
"How many peaches were in the can?"
With a dramatic eye roll, she says,
9. But what does that have to do with anything?
The judge, still patient, explains,
"Well, ma'am, because I'm going to give you 9 days in jail. 1 day for each peach in that can."
As the judge is about to drop his gavel, the lady's long-suffering husband raises his hand slowly and asks if he might speak. The judge, curious, asks,
"Yes, sir. Do you have something to add?"
The husband, calling out from the back of the court, says, "Yes, Your Honor. She also stole a can of peas." A man stands at the bar for the first time with his son. The proud father, with a gleam in his eye, claps his son on the shoulder and says,
"Son, now that you're of age, it's time we talk about some of the finer points of life. You see, in this world, there are many pleasures, but one must always practice moderation. A gentleman, above all, knows his limits. To truly enjoy life, you have to find that sweet spot, a happy medium. So, have a drink now and then, by all means, but remember this. Never, ever, ever let yourself get drunk. A man who loses control is no gentleman at all."
The son, trying to absorb this wisdom, nods dutifully. "Yes, sir," he replies, eager to make his father proud. But curiosity gets the better of him, and he adds, "But Dad, how am I supposed to know when I've had too much? I mean, how do I know when I'm actually drunk?" The father, leaning in as if to share a great secret, points discreetly to the corner of the room.
"You see those 2 men sitting over there?"
He asks with a knowing smile. "But Dad," protests his son, "there's only one guy over there." A car is driving down the road when suddenly it starts swerving widely from one lane to the other. Other drivers honk and swerve to avoid the erratic vehicle, wondering what's going on. Inside the car, a blonde woman grips the steering wheel with white knuckles, eyes wide in terror.
"Oh my gosh!"
She mutters to herself, her heart pounding like a drum as she jerks the steering wheel left and right. Meanwhile, a concerned bystander on the sidewalk watches the scene unfold in disbelief. Reaching for his cell phone, he dials 911 and reports the swerving car. It doesn't take long for the police officer to spot the swerving car. With a quick flick of his wrist, he activates the siren and signals the driver to pull over. The car comes to a shaky stop by the side of the road. The officer approaches cautiously, hand resting on his holster. The window rolls down, and the blonde woman looks up at him with a mix of relief and anxiety.
"Oh, officer, thank goodness you're here!"
she exclaims, breathless.
"I saw a tree in the road, so I swerved to avoid it. Then suddenly, there was another, and then another."
The officer narrows his eyes, puzzled, then leans down to peer into the car. Calmly, he straightens back up and asks,
"Ma'am, did you just buy that air freshener?"
Two dog owners often chat at the park while their dogs play. One day, their casual conversation turns into a heated debate over whose dog is the smartest. The first owner, a proud man with a gleam in his eye, is quick to boast about his pet's extraordinary abilities.
You won't believe how smart my dog is,
he starts.
Every single morning, like clockwork, he leaves the house at 6 a.m. sharp. First, he heads straight to the corner store and buys me a sesame seed bagel with chive cream cheese, exactly how I like it. Then, he trots over to the local cafe and picks up a mocha latte for me. The barista even knows him by name now. After that, he hurries back home, pushes open the front door with his nose, and somehow even turns the TV on to the football channel. All before I even rolled out of bed.
The second owner, who's been listening patiently, just nods along. I know, he says calmly, as if this incredible story is no big deal. The first owner blinks, taken aback by his response.
Wait, what do you mean you knows?
He asks suspiciously. With a nonchalant expression, the second owner replies, My dog told me. A man arrives at the pearly gates of heaven and is welcomed by an angel who offers to give him a tour. As they stroll through the golden streets, the man notices an enormous room filled with clocks of all sizes and styles, each one ticking away at a different pace. Intrigued, he asks the angel,
What's with all these clocks? Why are they here?
The angel smiles and explains,
These are lie clocks. Every person on Earth has one. Every time someone tells a lie, their clock moves forward.
The man's eyes widen in amazement as he scans the room. He notices some clocks with hands that barely move and others that seem to be stuck. But then he spots a whole section of clocks where the hands are spinning at an alarming speed.
Whose clocks are those?
He asks, pointing to the rapidly moving clocks. The angel chuckles softly.
Oh, those belong to salespeople. Their clocks tend to get quite a workout.
The man can't help but laugh at the thought, and then he remarks,
I'm surprised the lawyer's clocks aren't right there with them.
Curious, the man tilts his head.
By the way, where do you keep the lawyer's clocks?
The angel replies,
Oh, we keep those in the office. We use them as ceiling fans.
A woman, feeling increasingly frustrated with her marriage, decides to visit her doctor. With a worried look, she confides in him,
Doctor, my husband is losing interest in sex. It's really affecting our relationship, and I don't know what to do.
The doctor listens attentively, then reaches into his desk drawer and pulls out a small bottle of pills. Handing one to the woman, he says,
I think this might help, but I have to warn you, this pill is still experimental. We're not entirely sure how strong it is yet. Slip this pill into his mashed potatoes at dinner tonight and see what happens.
The woman, eager to rekindle the spark in her marriage, nods and takes the pill. That evening, following the doctor's advice, she slips the pill into her husband's mashed potatoes. The next week, she returns to the doctor, her face flushed with a mixture of embarrassment and satisfaction.
Doctor,
She begins,
that pill worked wonders. I did exactly what you said. I put it in my husband's mashed potatoes. Within minutes, he raked all the food and dishes off the table and took me right there on top of it.
The doctor, taken aback, raises an eyebrow.
Good heavens! I didn't realize the pill was that strong. The foundation will be glad to pay for any damages.
Don't worry about it, Doctor.
She replies,
We're never going back to that restaurant anyway.
A man has a few legal questions that have been keeping him up at night, so he decides to get some professional advice. He finds a listing in the phone book for Anderson & Associates and gives them a call. After a couple of rings, a lawyer answers.
Good afternoon. This is the law office of Anderson & Associates. How can I help you today?
The man clears his throat, trying to sound confident.
Yes, hello. I was wondering, how much would you charge for just answering 3 simple questions?
$1,000.
Replies the lawyer in a tone so casual you'd think he was talking about the weather. The man nearly drops the phone.
$1,000?
he exclaims, his voice rising in disbelief.
Isn't that a bit steep for just a few questions?
The lawyer, unruffled, agrees.
It certainly is.
His tone as smooth as ever. There's a brief pause before he adds, with a hint of impatience,
Now, what was your third question?
While reading an article about fathers and sons drinking together, I realized, after all this time, that I had never taken my son out for a drink. So, off we went to our local bar, which was only 2 blocks from the house. I got him a Guinness. He didn't like it, so I drank it. Then I got him a Killian's. He didn't like that either, so I drank that too. Losing hope, I ordered him a Harp Lager. Nope, he didn't like that either, so I drank that. I thought maybe he'd like whiskey better than beer, so we tried a Jameson's. Nope, no cigar. In desperation, I had him try that 25-year-old Glenfiddich, the bar's finest scotch. He wouldn't even smell it. What could I do but drink it? By the time I realized he just didn't like to drink, I was so shit-faced I could hardly push his stroller back home.